Hello, everybody. Me staring at my screen is not gonna make me any less nervous, but because I'm just over here. I'm just over here being nervous right now. uh, Let me know if you guys can't hear me. Okay. um. Awesome. I'm like trying to make sure you guys can all hear me, and I have so many computers in front of me right now. But hello. I'm I'm Mukio. And I just want to start by saying thank you guys all so much for actually showing up to my debut. It really does mean a lot. Yeah, I'm so nervous right now. I'm actually shaking. uh Anyways, hello. Let's let's get right into this then. Want to start off by going over by saying a couple of my favorite, or by talking about a little bit about myself. So, my name is Mukio Voidwalker. I'm a cat boy from outer space. And I may or may not have crashed my spaceship onto Earth about 24 years ago on April 27th, which is probably the closest thing to a human birthday. Somewhere around there. And so I'm about 190 of your human centimeters tall when I'm down here on Earth. Yeah, I am tall. And I understand English and some Japanese. I've been studying Japanese for a couple of years now, and I can generally read and speak Japanese, at least relatively well, but sometimes my brain still short circuits and I don't know what I'm saying. But I do that in English also sometimes. And yeah, my somewhere around 24 years ago, I crash landed onto Earth after I may or may have stole a spaceship from my home star system and attempted to run away. English is hard, to be fair. And yeah, Japanese is also a really hard language. I have a bookshelf full of Japanese books that I can only sort of read. No, I did not have a license to fly a spaceship. I may or may not have flunked out of spaceship flying school. Yeah, I can understand English most of the time. I'd like to say all of the time, but that's not always the case. Flying a spaceship without a license, well, led to me accidentally crash landing my spaceship into a forest. And yeah, it is very, as you say, hard. That's pretty fitting for, it's pretty fitting for English and Japanese both. So, some of my favorite things are just to know kind of what to expect from me is some of my favorite games are games like Factorio. I like solving puzzles. Missing cat. Yeah. It was definitely a landing. I don't think my spaceship exploding counts as perfect. Yeah. Games like Factorio because I like solving puzzles, and also it starts off by crashing your spaceship onto a planet. I'm a big fan of Falcom's East games, especially the newer ones, 8, 9, and 10. I'll probably wind up playing those on stream at some point because I always have a fun time replaying them. I really like the Xenoblade Chronicle games, especially 2 and 3. Very, very enjoyable games. Fun stories. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of hidden secrets. And I like that sort of stuff. And then I've always had a bit of a soft spot for the Harvest Moon games. My first video game I ever played years and years ago was the second Harvest Moon game. So I've always had a bit of a soft spot for farming simulations, those games in specific. I'm also a big fan of what I always call J-pop-ish music, which is basically just VTuber music of any variety. And lots of different subgenres there, but I like them all. As far as my favorite food, definitely sushi. I definitely did not eat, like, way too much sushi last night. Yeah, anime music and VTuber music. Pretty much dead on the mark there. Yeah. Well, as far as drinks, my favorite drink by far is green tea. I am known to drink a excessive amount of green tea, and it can sometimes be a bit of a problem. Just realized I'm actually blocking part of the slide deck there. Green tea. Definitely love the green tea, and Nightcore is also pretty good music. I'm not gonna lie. But definitely like green tea. I drink it way more than I probably should. Eggnog when it's in season is also pretty good, and I might drink it by the gallon sometimes. Hey, thanks for joining the Discord. And then, as far as non-green tea and eggnog drinks go, I also enjoy Dr. Pepper. Some people think that that's weird. I don't really care. But I like how that one tastes. My favorite time of day is sunrise. I'm almost always awake early in the morning so I can see the sunrise. Which is... I just like watching it on the clouds in the sky and whatnot. And then some of my favorite hobbies are obviously playing video games. you should see a sunrise at some point. Yeah, obviously I like playing video games and whatnot. That's kind of why I'm here. Yeah, there's a little bit of a variety in my drink choices. I'm also a big fan of cooking, even if I don't always have the most time to actually cook. Because I'm busy doing other stuff constantly. When I get a chance, I always like to cook. And then, a little bit of a weird one for a lot of VTubers is, I'm also a big fan of hiking and doing stuff outdoors. Which is at least part of the reason why I seem to have a habit of breaking phones, is I take them hiking, pull them out of my pocket, take them off my lanyard, and then drop them. And phones don't generally survive falling from standing height onto rocks and whatnot. Preferably legal cooking. But yeah. Lots and lots of stuff I like to do, and yeah. Yeah. I just noticed that the chat overlay, for some reason, appears to have stopped working. I'm going to have to look into that later. It was working yesterday during my test, but apparently not today, because there is inevitably going to be some level of scuff. And something's always going to break. Apparently that's what it is today. It's the little chat box overlay. Not actually sure why it stopped working since my test yesterday. And this is not an accidentally blank slide. So I wanted to just take a quick chance to show off the absolutely amazing model my art mama Jiro put together for me, with everything it's capable of. So you've already seen me just bouncing around over here, being somewhat hyper. Yep, I bounce around. The ears wiggle when I blink, which is I always like. And then lots of stuff going on. Let me see if I can make things a little bit bigger without completely obliterating things. There we go. Got a nice little backpack. I'm trying to live edit the size of things on my stream. Yeah, my art mama Jiro did a really, really good job with my model. And I really like how it turned out. Yes, it's a bag that definitely might have some cat treats in it. Jiro really is awesome. But yeah, see me bouncing around. And then, as far as facial expressions go, I've actually got quite a few. So, if I'm a little bit angry, I've got an angry face. And a little bit of a pouty face there. And if you guys wind up making me sad somehow, it's actually pretty hard to do. I could start crying. Complete with the dripping tears. Please try to not make me cry. And then a nice representation of me right before this stream started is the fearful face. Very, very, very nervous. I get nervous very easily and scared very easily. So this is a very, very useful one. Not the sad one. Hopefully I don't have to use that one too much. Moving on from the fearful face, I have a blushing face. Yeah, I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, all nervous is definitely fits. From moving on from the blushing, I have the one that you've already seen, which is a nice smile with my eyes closed. Nice big smile. I'm always very, very happy, even if I'm nervous. And the smile's very nice. Oh, thanks. The blushing one I do like. And, so sometimes you're playing a game and things don't go entirely right. So I can be I could be a little bit confused. My brain's buffering. And I'm trying to figure out what to do next. And the confused one's pretty fun. This one's a little bit more subtle, but it's more of a concentrated nervous. Crash.exe is definitely right. This one's a bit more of a concerned or nervous, which is I'll definitely need this one sometimes when I'm focused on stuff. Hey, thanks on the congratulations. Moving on from the nervous. If I see something I really like, usually money or money equivalent. Fun times. And Now, if I'm embarrassed, kind of a combination of the nervous, fearful, blushing. If I'm embarrassed about something, I can show that pretty well. And I'm kind of just now realizing just how many things my model's actually able to do. Because I'm still got so many buttons. And maybe something happens that surprises me a little bit. But like some exclamation marks floating in front of my face, that's would always be a little bit surprising. Can very easily show that. And then last of the major expressions is if I'm really, really happy about something. I can go all sparkly. Who stole my spaceship? My spaceship's not really stealable. Yeah. I can go all sparkly and happy, which is always nice. And then, what you saw at the start of the stream, I can also wave to you guys. Which is, I like the wave. Good for both saying hello and goodbye and basically anything else imaginable. And then, top of all of that stuff, also got a couple of little outfit varieties. So, I've got a pair of glasses. Help me see things a little bit better, especially given you guys can see my right eye's actually mechanical. Let me see if I can get the hair out of the way there a little bit. So my eyesight isn't great, so sometimes the glasses help a lot. And I can obviously put the hood up, and it obviously has some cat ears on it. I'm not entirely blind. I'm only 90% of the way there. And yeah, the hood definitely has the cat ears. Because it wouldn't be very comfortable to squish your ears every time you have to put your hood up, would it? Yep, definitely a cat hood. And then I also have a baseball hat, which has a nice little hole for my cat ears to go through, because again, you wouldn't put the hat on if it would squish your ears every time, would you? It has a little galaxy pattern on the hat, which is, I like it. And then I also have a beanie, also with holes for the cat ears, because it's just more comfortable that way, and not like the ears are going to get cold, they're covered in fur. But got a couple of hats there, and the hood. And then also, if I zoom out a little bit, I can toggle the bag if I need to. But usually like the bag because it's where I have all my stuff. Including, yes, a bunch of cat treats like you mentioned. And the jacket also is removable if I need, if it's like really warm out or something. With a nice little watch on my wrist and some gloves and whatnot. And some very floppy arms. Yep, that's the bag that my phone usually falls out of. If you guys didn't see, I've broken 2 phones in the last 2 weeks by dropping them, which is definitely suboptimal. And I yeah, keep breaking phones. Not the best. They're expensive. Expensive to replace that many phones. Yeah, my arms are long, aren't they? And then, if you let me zoom back out a bit. Tall. I'm definitely tall. But my legs do move as I wiggle side to side, because if I want them to, but I can also just lean to the side. Lean side to side. without moving my legs, but it's easier to stay standing if you move your legs a little bit when you go side to side. And then last toggle thing on my model is walking animation, because obviously gotta walk places to get places. Yeah, 190 centimeters is really, really tall. And it's very, very obvious when I'm always zoomed out that's pretty tall. And yeah, I'm gonna keep the beanie on for the rest of the time because it's comfortable. How many times do I need to lean when I cross the door? Pretty often. I have a what I'd call a just like head count of how many times I've just walked face first into door frames and other things that were made for normal sized people. And I usually walk into at least 2 or 3 doors a week, which probably accounts for some of my lack of brain cells sometimes. It really does feel like 70% legs. It's a lot of leg. It's one of the problems of being tall is you're very discombobulated sometimes and walk into doors and whatnot. That's at least all the toggles and stuff on my model, which there's a lot of them. Being tall's helpful sometimes, but it's also sometimes not great. Causes problems. I think it causes at least as many problems as it solves sometimes. I mean, 183 is still on the taller end sometimes. But yeah. Yeah, that's at least all the toggles on my model. Which, it's a lot of them. Jiro put a lot of work into putting this model together for me. Okay, and let me get out of the way of the... What did I just move? There we go. Let me get out of the way of the text there. Yeah, Jiro did a really, really good job with the model. I really like how it all turned out. I've got even got the little details like the streaks of color in my hair and whatnot, which I really love how it looks. So, yeah, kind of just a brain dump of things I could think of things I thought about when I was thinking of things that I like. So, from the list of games I like, I definitely like difficult games that are hard to play and hard to understand, but not unfair. Yeah. Picking up stuff from high places when you're tall is definitely the biggest benefit, but yeah. Bit difficult games. That's part of why the game Noita's kind of taken over my life at this point, and why my other 2 streams this week are going to be me playing that game repeatedly over and over again, because I'm trying to figure out how that game works, and I don't know how that game works. Not Novita, Noita. Noita. It's the game where every pixel's simulated, usually to catch on fire and make you have to start another run. I've never actually heard of Novita. I think that's how you say that name. Yeah, I think that's how you say that name. I might look into that later. I also like, given from the fact that I know English and am studying Japanese, I definitely like studying languages and learning new things, and as I already mentioned, eating an excessive amount of sushi. Way, way too much. Fate Trigger Novita. Maybe an interesting. far as my preferred temperature, I definitely like the cold a lot more than when it's warm. And I kind of melt into a puddle if it's over like 10 degrees or so, which is not always great, especially in the summer. I'm probably a little bit weird sometimes, but I definitely like math, which is not something a lot of people enjoy. And also writing. And kind of playing off the cold with an A, not an E. And yeah, playing off liking the cold. I also like the snow. And you get to make lots of snowmen, and it always makes me feel like a little kid to play around in the snow. I just noticed I put sushi on here twice. Yeah, there's sushi on here twice. I like exploring new places and learning new things and traveling around and whatnot. Even if I don't always like actually traveling. I also like playing video games and even some board games and stuff sometimes, and tabletop RPGs and whatnot. Though it's mostly video games because they're easiest to play. I mean, what did you miss? I was mostly showing off my model. And I'm just kind of going over a brain dump of things I like. That apparently includes sushi twice. I like teaching things. I'm among a lot of other things, I'm actually a certified English second language teacher, which I'm not sure why I certified, but I am. Some of my other favorite foods other than sushi are animal crackers and ramen, especially good ramen. My favorite variety of ramen would probably have to be. I think I'd have to say my favorite type of ramen is tonkotsu ramen, which is pork bone broth based usually. Got a bunch of it. It's really good. Always a fan of listening to music and the smell of rain, and kind of in that same vein of liking outdoor things, which is a little bit. Ramen's pretty good. You should. It might not hurt to try it sometime. But you gotta get the good stuff and not the cheap stuff. The cheap stuff's not great. Yeah, in the vein of enjoying outdoor things, which is a little bit out of the ordinary for a lot of YouTubers, I feel like. I'm a pretty big fan of camping and hiking and whatnot. Sometimes in the winter, sometimes in the summer, depending on how much I feel like dealing with not just it being cold, but it being really cold. Because sometimes in the winter, it'll hit 20 below or so, 20, 30 below outside, and that's not fun sometimes. Camping's always an interesting, because some people like it, some people don't, especially if they like going outside or not, and it seems to be fairly separate. But I'm definitely more of a fan of camping where I have access to my car and whatnot. Sitting at home out here is outrunning for sure. But I mean, a lot of the blurry background pictures on like my Twitter posts and whatnot are pictures I've actually taken myself out and about. Might post some of them not blurred out at some point. Well, it might sound a little bit cliche, but I'm a big fan of helping people and making people smile and just making people's lives better. That's a big reason I do a lot of what I do. Is just I like helping people. And I also like programming computers. write some code, beep boop, computer does something, and maybe works. Debatable sometimes. If I actually know what I'm doing there. Other stuff I enjoy. I have a pretty good collection of CDs. I'm not good at fixing computer hardware, just software. The computer hardware breaks, I'm completely lost on what to do. But if the software breaks, I can usually figure that one out. But yeah, I've got a pretty good collection of CDs. Probably at least several hundred. Other things other than CDs I'm a fan of. I definitely am good at computer stuff. I try to be outgoing, but it's hard sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, I'm also a big fan of reading light novels and whatnot. Old antivirus CDs. Yeah, I don't know if those are very good anymore with how much stuff's changed in the last even couple of years in that space, but I mean, you could try. Yeah, I read a lot of light novels and stuff. Yeah, I'm a big fan of reading. It's a good way to pass time, and it's also enjoyable, and yeah, it's fun. I've got an excessive number of bookshelves full of books. I've probably got at least 700 or 800 physical books plus 500 or 600 digital books, because it's just fun. And then I'm also a fan of solving puzzles and games and real life, and just I like solving puzzles. I think that's part of why I'm a fan of programming computers also, is because it's basically just one big puzzle. And then the thing that's always a little bit questionable is I'm definitely a morning person. It is currently still dark outside where I live due to it being the morning. But I'm definitely a morning person. But that's more just due to how things work out with my schedule. When I was growing up, I was always in school. I was always more of a night owl, but my entire schedule kind of shifted for whatever reason, and now I'm a morning person. And who knows if that's going to shift again in the future. I knew it. What did you know? I want to know what you knew. And then, as I've mentioned before, fan of hiking. Apparently a fan of also accidentally repeatedly dropping my phone off cliffs. Yeah, closer to the evening, it's just like, I want to just go to sleep at some point. Because, yeah, hiking and morning person definitely go together. Because, and liking the sunrise, that all kind of goes together. Yeah. Yeah, definitely one of the reasons being a morning person nice is because when it's getting towards the end of the day, you can just go to sleep and not feel like you're missing out on a bunch of stuff. Which is nice. And then I don't think I missed anything on here. Yeah. Some stuff I'm not as much of a fan of. I just noticed I left a extra just blue text in there. It's not that I don't like blue text, I just apparently forgot to remove that one. Not a huge fan of the wind or warm weather, like I mentioned. If it gets too warm, I just turn into a puddle. I try to avoid drama online as much as I can. It's never enjoyable. I'm also not a huge fan of modern AI like ChatGPT. Lightning's very, very scary. I don't like lightning. It also likes to knock out my power sometimes, especially in the summer. Not a huge fan of being late or staying up late, or most spicy food. For some reason, I've never had problems with wasabi, but every other type of spicy food, just no. I have no spicy tolerance. Yeah, staying up late in the night to work on stuff is definitely a mood, even as a morning person. I was up way later than I probably should have been yesterday, putting the finishing touches on all of this. I'm not a huge fan of blinking red lights. Mustard is a little spicy sometimes, isn't it? I'm not a huge fan of blinking red lights. If it's a different color other than red, no problems, but when it comes to blinking red lights, I don't like them. I'm not sure what it is about specifically that color. Not a huge fan of excessive amounts of sugar. If I have too much sugar, I'll wind up just like sugar crashing, and I don't like that. I'm also not a fan of loud noises. I'm very, very easy to startle. And loud noises also hurt my ears. Never much of a fan of horror games. I'll play them sometimes, but yeah, a little bit of a cat. Yeah, not much of a fan of horror games. That might play into the fact that I like hiking and the morning, that I don't like horror games because then I get scared of the dark. And I start seeing things everywhere, and I don't like that. Not a huge fan of coffee. Green tea is definitely way, way better. Green tea is so much better. And don't usually have issues with it, but I'm not a fan of insomnia and just not being able to fall asleep at night. Yeah, I think a lot of the reason I don't like the horror genre is not necessarily because I don't like being scared, but because when I play horror games, I start getting scared when it's more in real life. And I'm out hiking or whatnot, and I start seeing things moving in the trees, and then I get very concerned because I can't tell if it's something I actually need to be worried about. I have a extreme fear of heights and high places, which surprises a lot of people, given that a lot of times when I'm hiking, I'll wind up near the edge of cliffs or whatnot, which is also part of how I break so many phones. Because a phone is probably going to survive falling 3 feet to the ground, but not 30 feet to the ground. Yeah, it's very, very common to come across high places when hiking. And if the edge is on one side of the trail, I'm going to be on the other side. As much as possible. Not a fan of excessive phone notifications. My phones are almost always on silent because I do not like getting spammed with notifications, and people like to try to spam me with notifications. Never a fan of the excessive amount of skin that some people show online, especially sometimes in the VTubing space, depending on where you look. I'm never much of a fan of that. Just is not my cup of tea. I mean, you can DM me, but it's not going to ping my phone with a notification. If you do it. I'm not a huge fan of transit to get places, especially driving. I drive. I can drive, and I drive a fair amount because I kind of have to due to where I live, but I'm never a fan of it. It takes a lot of time, but at least I can turn on music while I'm driving, which helps. And then last thing I'm not a fan of is the fact that I sometimes have some social anxiety that causes me to get way more nervous than I should for small things. Yeah, showing too much skin is definitely an issue. You'll notice that I don't have that problem on my model. It's not particularly enjoyable. It's not something I particularly enjoy. And yeah, especially when a lot of your audience is under 18 and you start doing that stuff, then it starts to get a little bit questionable as well. And I don't know, I'm just not a fan of it. And I'm not actually afraid of blue text. Or I don't actually dislike blue text. I have a lot of it everywhere, but I just forgot to remove that from the slide. I think that's everything I put on this slide also. But yeah. There's definitely a lot more things I like than I don't like. I had a hard time even coming up with this many things for this slide. First merman, so scales. Yeah, that tracks. Yeah, I definitely had a hard time coming up with even this many things on the things I don't like slide, but on the last slide with stuff I like, I could have kept going for quite a while because I tend to be very, very happy and most of the time, and there's not a lot of stuff I actually actively dislike so much as stuff I'm a little bit annoyed by. Yeah, I think that's everything on those slides at least. So some art credits. The biggest special thanks definitely goes to Jiro, who put my absolutely amazing model together. It is such a good model, and I am super happy with it. And Jiro was awesome to work with throughout the entire process because he both did all the art for my model and also all the rigging and all of that stuff as well. So, and did a very, very good job. And I will keep saying this forever. Jiro did a really, really, really good job. And there's just nothing else much to note other than the model is very, very well done. It cost the price was quite a lot. I don't know the exact pricing because currency conversion rates, but I think it was somewhere in the range of $2,500 to $3,000 for the model, somewhere around there. It's hard because during the process, the value of the yen was changing like crazy compared to my currency, so... but definitely worth it because it is a extraordinarily well done model with a lot of stuff going on. And it's very, very dynamic as well. $150 for a model and rig is a pretty good price. But yeah, Jiro definitely did a absolutely amazing job with everything though. And with all the toggles and hats and the hood and animations and all of that stuff. And yeah, the amount of effort Jiro puts into really all of their models, including this one, definitely shows through. And it's a huge thanks to them for putting this model together. Thanks, Jiro, for giving us the support. Yeah. Yeah, without Jiro, I would probably not be here right now. Because they really did do an amazing job. But they're also not the only artists that I've been working with. more credits. More art credits. Deli did a lot of my branding work. So the stream overlay borders, the starting and ending screens, my YouTube profile, or my YouTube banner, my banner on Twitter, all that stuff they put together, and did a good job with that. Arlia there drew my profile picture that I'm using kind of everywhere. Did a really good job there as well. If you join my Discord server, I have like 20, I think it's 20 custom emotes that Maichu drew, which are absolutely amazing. And if/when I get to 500 subscribers, and I think it's like 3,000 watch hours on YouTube, and can upload emotes here, I'll upload them here as well. But right now they're just on Discord. Gremlin drew a little like, comment, and subscribe animation for me to use in videos and whatnot. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what's in which YouTube tier. Yeah, Gremlin drew a nice little like, comment, subscribe animation for use in videos and whatnot. Off my model. Yeah, it is a lot. Mapidraw drew a like full-sized background image for me, like a wallpaper image that you can find on their Twitter right now, and I'm also going to be using as the background for a music video in some point in the future here. Mocha T drew me a little watermark, which you can see in the top right. I'm trying to point towards it with my head. Up there. Which is a nice little thing to have. And you can also see it on the stream down in the corner as my YouTube watermark. And then Raven drew the artwork that I used in my very first stream schedule. The schedule template itself was created by Deli, and Raven created the artwork that was used in that schedule, and did a really good job with it. And then everybody else, including all of you guys, you guys get special thanks as well for being here and showing up. It really does mean a lot to me. Here's everybody else. I mean, that includes you guys. And all the other artists that I'm inevitably going to work with in the future, and it takes a lot of work to put something like this together. So yes, everybody is in the stream with us right now. Stuff going forward is some of my plans. I'm going to try to do at least 3 gaming streams every week on around this time. Possibly, it really does take a community to raise a VTuber. Around this time, I'm going to try to do, for a lot of those gaming streams, at least 4-ish hours. Just so that people can filter in and out as needed. When things interesting happen in streams, I'm going to turn them into highlight videos or like YouTube style videos, so that people who don't have the time to watch endless amounts of streams can still enjoy things. Yep. As you noticed, I do have an original song in the works. It will come out whenever I can figure out how to make my lyrics stop sounding like I'm reading a Shakespeare play. I've done quite a bit of singing in the past, and I've done quite a bit of music production in the past, but I've not really done a whole lot of actual songwriting, lyric writing before, so a lot of that's new. A lot of that side of things is new to me and is not as easy as it seems. So that's definitely in the works. It's gonna take a little bit because I got to work out how to not sound like not sound like a poem. I'm getting there, but yeah, definitely likes to sound like more of a poem than a song. Even if I have, because a lot of my experience with music is on the instrumental side of things and not the songwriting side of things. So that's coming up at some point in the future. But we'll see how long that actually takes to come out. But it's definitely in the works, and I might release a couple of instrumental songs without lyrics in the meantime, depending on how long it takes. And then, kind of going off of the liking to teach things, I do want to make some educational videos and shorts over various topics that people find interesting. As I'm going forward here, anything from how computers work to tips and tricks for hiking to, I don't know. I'm a certified English teacher, maybe tips and tricks for Englishing, which is that's not grammatically correct, but I don't care. If there's any specific topics you want? NVIDIA versus AMD. Yeah, if there's any specific topics you guys want me to teach about, feel free to suggest them. And then there's a good chance I'll make them at some point, because I just love teaching people new things. Also love learning. Yeah, NVIDIA versus AMD. I'm running on NVIDIA cards right now, but I'm not a fan of them because they have bricked my computers way too many times. Usually due to them pushing out a driver update that breaks everything, and then NVIDIA pushes out a driver update and breaks everything under the sun, and then I go to launch a game or go to launch OBS or something. It's just like, nothing is working today, and I have to spend 2 or 3 hours fixing everything, which is not fun. And yeah, a lot of people don't know a ton about hiking, so there's definitely a lot of stuff I can teach about there. And yeah, I mean, the 2 computers I'm running this stream off of, because I have 2 computers I have to run the stream off of due to the fact that otherwise I can't actually do anything because of how many toggles my model has. It eats up my entire keyboard input for the most part. But they're both running NVIDIA GPUs right now. Yeah, there are so many toggles in my model that it makes the computer I'm running everything off of almost entirely non-functional, because over half the keyboard is taken up by toggles for my model. Which it's a lot. It was going to be a computer and a desktop computer and a laptop that I was streaming off of, except the laptop computer I was using, the GPU did actually melt itself to death. I'm not sure how that happened. But it was not great. And now it does not turn on anymore because the graphics card actually melted. I don't even know how that's possible. Yeah, it is. I mean, Intel car is apparently more reliable than I get out of. I mean, I've had a laptop die. I had that laptop die, and I also have dropped and broken 2 phones in the last 2 weeks. So there's a lot of that. I have a overwhelming habit of being around when computers and technology breaks, which is problematic sometimes. Because kind of need computers and technology to work to do this. And everything from my internet randomly dying on me sometimes for no apparent reason other than my internet company or my power company deciding I don't need power that day for I don't know why. They've shut down my power for too much wind before. And I'm not sure what the point of shutting my power down for too much wind is, but oh well. But yeah, I have a habit of being around dysfunctional technology. And hopefully things don't die too much on stream, but well, we've already seen at least one thing malfunction, being the chat box not working for some mysterious reason that I do not know because it was working yesterday and is not working today. I'm gonna need to dig into that. Yeah. Hopefully, in order to keep my habit of being around technology when it melts itself, apparently, from impacting the stream too much, I also have a backup computer that I got for like $150 that I can plug in if I need to. I wake up one morning and my computer just died. It is going to be very hard to keep me from doing stuff because I have backups for all my technology. So I guess the one thing I don't have a good backup for is if my power company decides to just kill my power for a day, which they've been known to do before. Because I don't have enough battery power to run computers forever. But I do have backup phones. I've got a entire backup computer sitting on the other side of my room. I have backup internet if I need it. Because yeah, whenever I'm around technology, despite the fact that I'm really good at the software side of things, the hardware side of things just immediately decides to malfunction, and usually in pretty extreme ways. And yeah, that's part of that. But yeah, there's just a lot of technology going on. There is definitely a not well cable managed pile of cables connecting everything together. Because also, in order to help me keep track of all my toggles and whatnot for my model, I both have a stream deck with little pictures on it. And because clicking buttons on a keyboard or stream deck while actively playing games is a little bit hard, I also have a foot control if I need to for at least a couple of the toggles I think I'm going to use the most. So, 10 backup phones. You're not entirely too far off with that number. I have 3 phones at my desk right now. Yeah, I definitely have there's definitely a lot of technology going on, so I have got a lot of backups in place. And then as far as schedule stuff, I've posted my first stream schedule kinda all over the place already. Ready for the apocalypse. Yeah. Yeah, if the apocalypse happens, I'm ready for it. And not just on the technology side of things. I also buy all my food in bulk. I mean, old phones count as backup phones. Yeah. Got my debut stream right now. Thanks for all being here. And then next 2 days at the same time of day, gonna be playing Noita on stream and failing at it, most likely. Keypad phones. I don't remember the last time I had one of those. But yeah, I'm going to try to be as consistent as I can with Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 a.m. GMT, which is also 5 p.m. JST for doing streams. And I want to try to keep those streams and I want to try to make as many of those streams be around 4 hours long, with a break halfway through, because it's hard to sit still for. It's hard to sit and watch anything for 4 hours. And then streams for games, music, telling crazy stories, because I've got a lot of crazy stories. And whatever else I think about. And then, yeah, speaking of power, I just watched my lights dim there. Hopefully my power doesn't go out here. And then, yeah, when I can, I want to also do some stories from the void. Yeah. I have a lot of stories. I do some crazy stuff sometimes. And then, yeah, when possible, I'm going to try to do some extra streams, probably mostly on Mondays and Fridays, just because I need time on the weekends to prep things and edit things and work on the music and all of that stuff. But yeah, sitting through streams is pretty hard a lot of the time. Which is part of why, like, when I'm doing longer streams, I'm going to try to do a break about a short break about every 2 hours, so people can go grab water or what have you. get up and stretch their legs a little bit or whatnot, including me. And yeah, I try to do a lot of stuff. Yeah, streaming for 2 hours is a long time. So my goal of, I think this is probably going to be my debut stream. Is probably going to be my shortest stream I probably ever do, provided that I don't have like technological stuff cutting a streams way short. But yeah, doing back-to-back-to-back streams every week is, I know I can do it, but it's definitely draining. And the other thing that you don't realize, that a lot of people don't think about, it also does a bit of a number on your voice sometimes. To have to talk for hours and hours and hours. Because I don't actually get a lot of time to talk to people at, like, my job and whatnot. So it's a little bit hard sometimes to actually talk for this long and have things to talk about. And yeah, but when I was doing some practice streams and recordings and whatnot, occasionally I'd finish and I'd like go do something for an hour, and then I'd try to talk and I'd have no voice left, which was a little bit suboptimal sometimes. I mean, I'm generally pretty good about having things to talk about and blabbing. One of the things I always struggle with is occasionally my brain likes to just short circuit sometimes, at which point I'll get about halfway through a sentence and then get distracted by literally anything under the sun, and anything not under the sun as well, and just space out. Yeah, so much for you unable to record. Yeah, that definitely happens. It's when you talk a lot more than usual, Yeah, my brain does like to short circuit sometimes and just get halfway through a sentence and then switch topics or just blank on how to put words into sounds and just kind of stand and kind of just sit there like and just start buffering for no reason. But yeah, you'll definitely see that sometimes where I'll just, and probably already, and I feel like I've already done it at least a couple times during the stream where I'll just get halfway through a sentence and then either trail off into the void like I literally just did, or kind of completely switch topics for no reason other than my brain just was like, yeah, I'm short-circuiting now. But yeah, I'm gonna do as much the best I can to keep my stream schedule on the middle of the week consistent, so that you can kind of at least work it into a schedule. Exactly what games and stuff I'll be doing is still up in the air for a lot of streams, but right now the game of Noita has taken over my life, so I'm gonna get quite a bit of that, and then probably play some of Falcom's East games in the future, other action RPG games, all sorts of stuff, really. Might do some karaoke streams at some point. Yeah, I might do some karaoke streams at some point. But the thing I definitely want to be careful of with a lot of music style stuff is YouTube's copyright system is fairly vindicative, and it really likes to go after you for the smallest things. So I want to make sure I stay on the good side of that. On the good side of the copyright robot on YouTube. Because it would not be great if YouTube decided that I'm just stealing copyrighted content and blocks my channel or something. Because then I'd have to go do something like streaming on Twitch, and I'm not a fan of that platform for several reasons. Including the fact that they actually have a very, very low... Twitch has a very low quality cap on their streams of not really super high quality. And you play games with a lot of stuff going on in them, the low bitrate on Twitch will occasionally eat through everything. Which is not a problem that YouTube generally has. Yeah. Copyright really is a nasty thing. It's super easy to mess it up, and you don't get a lot of second chances on YouTube if you do mess it up, so a lot of effort going into making sure I stay on the good side of all of that. Yeah, multi-platform's not the worst thing, and I could definitely do it. I have pretty good internet speed, so I could probably even just stream directly from my computer to both. But yeah. Currently just streaming on YouTube. Because they're also at least more consistent with how they enforce their rules. Especially around VTubers. And yeah. It can be a little bit... Twitch can be a little bit random with how they apply a lot of their rules to VTubers from what I've seen. And I'm not a huge fan of that. It is that is the last slide of the slideshow, at least. But yeah. I do also have a overlay for chatting, but currently the chatting box doesn't work for unknown reasons that I need to go troubleshoot. So there's nothing that shows up there right now for whatever reason. It was working yesterday. I tested this yesterday. And it definitely worked yesterday. And it is not working this morning for some reason. I do not know why. But yeah, I guess you guys are just ghosts today. Yeah, overlay scuff. It worked yesterday. It's not working right now. I do not know why. I'm gonna need to go poke. I don't know what setting. What setting went sideways. Yeah, I don't know what setting went sideways, but I'm gonna need to go work that out at some point here. Because yeah. And then yeah, this chatting screen also has the background music, which hopefully isn't excessively loud. It doesn't look like it's excessively loud in the audio mixer. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea to get into the habit of resetting the chatting widget. Just because, yeah, stuff like that likes to break. Or, I don't know why. I really don't know why it's not working. Because it was very consistently working. Yeah, the chatting overlay was very consistently working up until I actually hit go live, apparently. I wonder if I can... is there a good way for me to just... I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna need to figure out why it's not picking up the chat right now. Yeah. I got what you mean with the music. I know about what audio levels I need to have different things at in the audio mixer, but it's also hard to tell if that's actually coming across correctly after all of the processing that YouTube and stuff does. I did a bunch of tests, but also apparently my tests didn't catch the fact that the chat overlay randomly breaks. Oh yeah, my microphone by default is also super quiet. I had to feed my microphone through a preamp before I feed it into the audio interface, otherwise it sounds like I'm like several rooms away. And like just talking a normal voice from like several rooms away, because it's a really quiet microphone by default. And yeah, scuff is definitely always going to happen. with just how much technology is always needing to go on. There's a lot of stuff that can break. I mean, I've got my headset plugged into my computer, I've got my microphone, I've got my phone for all the mocap for my model. There's a lot of stuff going on. Hey, thanks for joining, Glance. But yeah, there's just a lot of stuff going on, so it's not surprising that things occasionally break. Oh yeah, yeah. I am legitimately not sure why the chat box isn't working. Because I've changed literally nothing since yesterday when it was working. Oh well. It is what it is. But yeah. I do have, on the technology side, this might be more useful once doing games and stuff, but this should be streaming at 1440p and 60 frames per second, including YouTube downscaling it to 1080p and 720p and all that stuff. And everything should work at those resolutions. So, if you're on a home internet, not a phone internet, and you want to watch the stream in higher quality, you should be able to. And yeah. The Discord's also notorious for causing tech problems. It really likes to just randomly break for no apparent reason. And also Discord has a lot of outages at always the most inconvenient times. Yeah. Yeah, Discord, it's a good tool, but it also breaks all the time. And that can be problematic when you're trying to depend on it for something like a collaboration or something. Yeah, just didn't know. Yeah. That also, there's so much stuff going on constantly that it can be hard to. It can even be hard to know what to do sometimes. And yeah, even for me, it's hard to know everything I need to. All the different moving parts. There's just a lot going on. And yeah, to take everything and turn it into content. Take all the stuff and turn it into content, and all the confusion and turn it into content, and that's what you do. That's what you do, is you just laugh it off and turn it into content. And then look back on the future and see how much improvement you've made since then. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're content creators. We make content. And everything has the potential to be content. From dropping your phone twice in 2 weeks and being on your third phone in 2 weeks. I should post a picture of my old phone at some point. It is completely destroyed. Yeah. Figuring out how to connect a phone to your setup is definitely interesting. I'm currently streaming my model tracking to my computer over Wi-Fi because for some reason the ports on my computer that allow me to connect it via data. Yeah, the ports that allow me to connect my phone via data don't have enough charging power to keep my phone from running out of battery while I'm streaming. Drawing streams are always fun to watch, even though I don't have much in the way of drawing skills myself. I have a hard time even drawing stuff like stick figures a lot of the time. But hey, there have been people who've made a lot of stuff like comics and stuff built entirely off of stick figures. Yeah, I've got a lot of accounts on different platforms. They're all linked from my YouTube. And I'll try. I try to post. I'm going to try to post all the important stuff everywhere, but it's entirely possible I forget somewhere at some point. Because it's hard to keep track of everything. But yeah, between all the different platforms, Discord, Twitter, YouTube. I have an account on Blue Sky for people who don't like Twitter. And yeah, got a bunch of accounts on other platforms so that people don't. Because I've been on the internet long enough to know that people try to camp accounts and or like impersonate people, so I have accounts on basically every platform. Whether or not I use them is an entirely different question. Hey, at least you sometimes remember to post important stuff. Yeah, because stuff like a stream schedule's kind of important to remember to post places. And yeah. Yeah, got all the stream schedules and whatnot. Gotta make sure you remember to post everything everywhere. Otherwise, people have no idea that you even exist, and that's a problem. But yeah, lots and lots of stuff. Lots and lots of artwork that I have that I've had made. Yeah, I've just been around the internet long enough to know that it is something I should probably get ahead of, because it's easier to deal with before it happens. And yeah, I don't know, I've seen some pretty small content creators, and even not content creators, just relatively just normal people on the internet get impersonated for various reasons. But yeah, it's always there's definitely the ones that there's definitely the platforms I'm going to use more than others, but I don't think I'm going to be posting anything to, I don't know, Facebook anytime soon. But I did create an account on there just to make sure that I have one. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why people try to impersonate other people on the internet, but they do. Fairly regularly. And even a lot of that comes from people initially take over somebody's Discord account via any number of those free nitro scams you see. And then from there, if they determine you're interesting, if they determine you're not interesting, they'll just use your account to spam other people. But if they determine you're interesting, a lot of time they'll go from there and start impersonating you elsewhere. And also, yeah, I have an account on Instagram, but they like to keep suspending it for whatever reason. But yeah. And likes. Yeah, I don't... Yeah, people probably impersonate other people for the attention, but I don't really know. Instagram's interesting. I've created 4 accounts on there, and they've suspended it 4 times. So, not sure I'm going to deal with that. And then I've also got accounts on basically every other social media platform that has any number of users. Not that I'm going to use most of them. I have my Instagram account that's not suspended. I only have because somebody tried to sign up with my email for some reason, and I'm not sure what they were trying to accomplish there. But yeah, because if you sign up with my email, I can just password reset and take control of the account. I'm not sure what their long-term plan there was. Yeah. I mean, drama's starting because you're standing up against a school bully on the internet. I think a acceptable reason for some drama to happen. I'd say that's an acceptable reason for some drama. But yeah, the internet's a weird place sometimes. I legitimately don't know how they got my email, but they signed up to Instagram with my email, and I got the, hey, somebody tried to create an account with your email message, and it was actually a legitimate message from Instagram. It wasn't a phishing attack or anything. And I I don't know what their long-term plan was. Yeah, I'm not sure what their long-term plan was because I just took over the account and am sitting on it. There's not anything for me to do there. Yeah, I still do not understand what their goal is. Their goal was. Yeah, when you click the heart button, I can see little hearts in the chat actually scroll on my screen. Yeah, I can definitely see it. But yeah, I don't know what their intention on creating a account with somebody else's email when the person who owns the email can just password reset and take control of the account is. I've tried to make sense of that a couple of times and never have. It's confusing. Maybe they did it unintentionally, maybe they didn't. I don't know. It's hard to... All my emails are fairly unique and hard to... and not really close to typoing from anything else, so... But I don't know. Maybe it was unintentional, but I don't know. Because stuff like the email associated with my YouTube account, the business email associated with my YouTube account, because YouTube lets you put that in, is on a entirely custom domain name, so pretty hard to typo that one. And all my emails are at least something similar. Yeah, I never understand why people do stuff sometimes. But, oh well. But what can you do sometimes? Yeah, I don't know I don't know what you can do sometimes, other than to just be confused for them. Yeah, just be confused for the people who are confusing you. Yeah. I suppose one other thing I could show off is the effect toggles I have set up for my model. Because I have some effect toggles set up that aren't like... Yeah, I don't understand humans. Because yeah, in addition to all my expressions and stuff, I also have some quick toggles for different effects that I've set up, including a cell shading effect that sometimes goes a little bit haywire on the hair. I can just completely glitch out. Yeah, just completely glitch out. or pixelate myself. go completely low resolution. or pixelate myself a bit higher resolution, but still pixelated. Or turn myself into a poster. Going into the Matrix, yep. And then obviously a button to reset all of it. Yeah. And then I could also go digital scanline mode. Not sure what that's useful for, but it exists. Yeah, going into the Matrix. I do like programming stuff. I made sure to have a reset button. And I made sure that the reset button works. Because, yeah, kind of important to be able to reset things. I have a reset button both for the effects, and I also have a reset button for all my models' expressions and outfits and whatnot. It just bails out. Because in case something malfunctions, just get back to a known good state. Yeah, just get back to a known good state so that everything is happy. And then I can get back to wherever I want to from there. I like technology. It does not always like me back. Yeah. Well, software usually cooperates with me. It's hardware that really doesn't like me. With all my phone breakages and computer breakages and whatnot. Yeah, I have a lot of technology malfunctions on the hardware side. Usually the software side works, except I say that as the chat box isn't working, and that's definitely software side. But I don't know. I think a lot of my problems with the hardware side is I'm not good at debugging it or fixing the hardware side of things. So sometimes my best solution is what we like to call percussive maintenance. Computer's not working. Well, it's under my desk. I can kick it. See if that makes it start working again. I don't think it likes it when I do that, though. But yeah. Yeah. I'm a pretty big fan of programming computers, and I think that's one of the reasons why I immediately was like, okay, I am creating models or creating toggles or setting up all the toggles for my model. I am making sure I have a reset button to get back to a good state. That's part of why rebooting a computer fixes so many things. Is the startup process for a computer is extremely stable generally, so you turn it off, turn it back on, and it's back into a good state, and you can go back to doing whatever you were doing. So the reset button for my model is basically just a restart button for my model instead of my computer. But yeah, definitely the dad TV solution of, yeah, it doesn't work. Smack it a couple times, kick it a couple times, maybe it'll start working. This is just don't break your screen. I wouldn't recommend hitting your computer screen. That might actually break it, and that wouldn't be great. Yeah. I will say, I after I dropped my two phones in the last, after I dropped and broken two phones in the last 2 weeks, I did make an upgrade. I got a lanyard, a retractable lanyard for my phone, so that if I drop it, it doesn't hit the ground. But don't go break your laptop. that wouldn't be great. Computers are expensive. Yeah, computers are definitely expensive, so try to not break them. I just have a habit of being around when computers break. And maybe it's my own fault and I don't realize it, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is. But also, I have a lot more technology failures than most people do, for whatever reason. Yeah, there's just a lot more technology failures for me than average. So I'm probably doing something wrong and not realizing it. But yeah. Yeah. I also have if I send my model to the middle of nowhere, I have a button to bring it back to the correct location. Yeah. A good laptop. I mean, laptops are pretty good nowadays. They can generally do anything a desktop computer can. But, well, My last 2 laptops have melted themselves. Actually, my last 3 laptops have melted themselves at this point, so I don't trust them anymore. But yeah, having the recenter button on my model is quite helpful. Actually, I have 2 recenter buttons, one that recenters me more standing up and one that recenters me to the spot where all my overlays expect me to be. But yeah, good laptop is a good if you get a good laptop that works, they're just fine. But I have a habit of my laptop's not working correctly. It is what it is. That's why I have desktop computers now. And then just a bunch of monitors everywhere. It kind of feels like I'm in a little cave sometimes. with all my monitors on in every which direction. And you can probably kind of see me turning between all my monitors. Because like if I look over at my left monitor, it's way over here, and if I look over at my right monitor, it's way over here. And then my main monitor in the middle. Main monitor in the middle, which is what I can play games and stuff on, and it's the monitor that shows up on the capture card for this overlay. How long do we have the stream for? I don't really know how long I wanted this stream today to go. All my other streams are going to be about 4 hours long. Yeah, all my other streams are going to be about 4 hours long. This one's probably going to be on the shorter end. Probably at least another couple of minutes. I don't know. Until I run out of things to talk about. But yeah. The screen for my overlay, or the middle screen that shows up in my overlay for gaming, is a 1440p screen, and I've got technically it's a 4K capture card, but my screen's not 4K, so it doesn't capture in 4K. So I can push the relatively higher resolution through to the YouTube Live in case YouTube decides to pixelate things. The other advantage of streaming at the higher resolution to YouTube is that when your video is over 1080p, so either 4K or 1440p, they actually use a better encoding that is significantly less pixelated than their normal, relatively garbage encoding that YouTube uses. Because I'm sure we've all seen YouTube videos where the YouTube compression just completely destroys it. And the higher resolution helps with that a lot, because YouTube uses a better encoding algorithm for the video that doesn't completely obliterate the video quite as much as their default does. But you have to be at a higher resolution to get that one. So that's the other advantage of the higher resolution, in addition to if you're not on mobile internet and you're like on your home internet or whatnot, things not being super pixelated. But yeah. I've done a lot of research into how YouTube works behind the scenes for audiovisual stuff to make things at least relatively decent looking. Though YouTube, because like YouTube definitely likes to munch on your video quality for breakfast and lunch and dinner and just destroy things and make it not super functional. So, do the research, figure out how it's working behind the scenes to, at least a little bit, to improve quality a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I kind of just woke up one day and decided to be a VTuber also, but that was months ago. And I've been working pretty consistently since then to make sure things are put together in a semi-sane way that'll work. That'll work fairly consistently. and be relatively high quality, hopefully. Hopefully the quality works the way it should. It was pretty consistent with my test streams and whatnot. Though my first test video upload, YouTube did still munch on the quality because for some reason it decided to re-encode the video with basically 0 resolution. But then I just re-uploaded the exact same file and it didn't, and I don't know why. YouTube is still YouTube sometimes, I guess. One of the funniest things I heard about YouTube is that a lot of even the people who work at YouTube don't entirely understand how YouTube works. And there's a lot of confusing stuff that it does. But just gotta work around it. Just gotta work around all the quirks, because no matter what platform you're on, it's gonna do something funny. It's gonna do funny stuff sometimes. But yeah, just gotta work with what you can. And also just gotta hit the go live button that I definitely didn't spend like 15 minutes staring at this morning. But I knew I was going to do that, so I spent the 15 minutes staring at it before the stream started. But yeah. Yeah. I think that's about all I've got for today. Switching back over to the stream slide. Gonna be live right back here again tomorrow. And the day after that, those streams are already scheduled on my YouTube channel. And going to be pressing go live. And yeah, I also spent quite a bit on the starting soon screen. Just sitting there like just being nervous. I mentioned at the start of the stream that I got so nervous at the start that I was like actually shaking. But yeah. Stream at the same time tomorrow, same time the day after that. Those ones are going to be more towards my full length of what I'm aiming for streams of about 4 hours with a break in the middle, with a short break in the middle. Because I do have a be right back screen also, in addition to the starting and ending screens. But yeah, stream tomorrow. And yeah. Yeah, I think that's about all I've got for today. So I just want to say thank you to huge thank you to absolutely everybody for joining my debut stream and hanging out with me this morning. And yeah, I hope to see all of you guys again in the future. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for joining. Bye-bye.